اوكي. طيب، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. النهارده طبعا هنكمل بارت 2 من ال professional practice. هي طبعا اللي احنا بنتكلم فيه في الكورس ده المفروض يتقسم على 3 4 كورسات. موضوعات كبيرة كلها ومهمة، وبتدرس في جامعات تانية الحقيقة. في يعني 3 4 كورسات بيبقوا كورسين بروفيشنال براكتس مع كورس كوانتيتي سيرفينج، و وعلى كورس كونتراكت دوكيومنتس وكونتراكت رايتنج، لان ده الحقيقه يعني بيشمل جزء كبير من البروفيشنال ورك اللي احنا بنعمله بعد التخرج. فاتكلمنا طبعا الاسبوع اللي فات على بعض الموضوعات. النهارده هنكمل بقيه الموضوعات الخاصه بالكونستراكشن دوكيومنتس. البارت second part of the construction documents هو ال specifications and bills of quantities. طبعا this is a very important part that actually you start to deal with the money, the cost of the project. So before asking for a cost, you have to tell the contractor what are the specifications of what you want. It's not enough to tell them, I want a chair. Give me a price for a chair. I have to tell them what is the design of the chair, the material, the thickness, the durability, the color, the steel structure I have to tell them everything. Otherwise, they will give you a wrong estimate of cost. So specifications are very tied to bills of quantities. Bills of quantities are the quantities that the contractor will base their prices on. The 3 things are related to each other. طبعا في drawings are not enough. You have to specify each part of the drawing and define the quantity that you want so that the contractor can give you a good estimate and abide with. So what are the specifications? They are written requirements for materials, equipment, and construction systems, as well as standards for products, workmanship, and the construction services required to produce the work. And this is a short sentence, but it contains a lot of work. You need to apply this for all types of work: architectural, structural, mechanical, plumbing, HVAC, lighting, networking, data, everything in the project. You have to tell them the drawings, they show the dimensions. Okay, dimensions are given in the drawings and locations, but the specifications, they are the ones that tell about the materials, the equipment, the construction systems, as well as the standards for products, workmanship, and construction services required for the work. So it's a very detailed type of work. Quantities, qualities, and relationships of the work required for the project. So this is the purpose of the bills of quantities and specifications is to provide this information for the contractor. Quantities and relationships are shown in the drawings. Qualities and standards are shown in the specifications. So they both complement each other. So they have to be exactly the same. If there is discrepancy, the contractor will go for what? Will go for the specifications, not the drawings. If they don't match, the contractor will tell you, I'm sorry, I'm working according to the specs, not the drawings. So you have to review exactly the matching between the drawings and the written specs. This is a sample of part of a written specification. The specifications are divided into several divisions. Each division is concerned with a type of work, and each division is divided into subdivisions. This is wood and plastic. This is thermal and moisture protection, and the sub items, doors and windows. Okay, and each one of these items is specified individually here. So this is part 101, and each one is written here. So the specs are a big document that has to be standardized and follow the country's specifications اللي هي بتطلع من مركز بحوث البناء. بيطلعوا مواصفات وكودات البناء في مصر. You have to always find these documents and have copies of them. And any change, you have to update your documents. Specs are divided into divisions. Each division is divided into subdivisions. Each subdivision is explained separately. All these documents must be read and understood and matched with the drawings. These are the codes, the Egyptian codes that are published and updated. And they start from the soil testing to roads, to concrete, to electricity, to everything, and to construction. So these are all the codes that are published by the National Building Research Center, مركز قومي لبحوث البناء. They are the people يعني concerned with producing all the codes. Or any new codes that are required, they are published by them. في دلوقتي مثلا codes للheritage buildings. في codes للmaintenance of buildings. فكل دي طبعا في codes للمستشفيات، في codes للelevators. Everything is specified by codes. The woodwork, the aluminum work, everything, the marble, everything is specified by a code. And these are the official standard government codes. But these are what we call general specs. These are what we call general specs. Sometimes in your project, you might need special specs for your project only. But usually we have two documents. The first document are the general specs. I have the specs, these are what you call the general specs. We have the special specs for your project. So you can take any of these and specify them specifically for your project. Concrete, plastering, something that requires specific work for your project. Codes are usually presented in terms of documents like this من المركز القومي لبحوث الإسكان والبناء اللي هو في شارع التحرير، شارع الدقي، قصاد فولفو، قصاد وجنب المركز القومي للبحوث. Usually they have good presentations and events that you can attend. طبعا they are all sold and can be purchased separately. You can also find them online in many sites. Many sites provide them online, so you can download them and keep them in a separate folder so that you can reference to them later. The specs are following several standards. The most important standard that is currently internationally used, it's called the Construction Specification Institute in the US. They publish specifications in certain formats. But we have master format, it's less used, and also there is the spec system. But the one used most around the world is the CSI. And you have to remember this term very clearly, the CSI. This is what the specifications are following. So what are the CSI? The CSI is was dividing the divisions into 16 divisions. This was until 2004. This was, if you find 16 divisions only, this means that this is an old CSI format. It was, the work was simple. It was published in 1989, and it was simple type of work. This is the 1995, 16 divisions. Okay, this was used in many countries for especially the US for many years. And then in 2004, this type of work in buildings has evolved quickly, and you start to see new materials, new systems. So they changed the format for the documents to more items to work. So because the coding was not enough, so they started to increase the coding to have more documents. So this coding is very important. You must understand what each code relates to, because each type of work is written in a specific place. Concrete, what type of concrete? You have to write it in the concrete form and accessories, concrete for flooring, structure in place, concrete slip, concrete and shoring. You have to place it in a specific location. You cannot write it anywhere. So this organization is extremely important in the CSI format. The old this is the logo of the CSI, and this is the old format. It was only 16. The type of work was simple and it was enough. But each category has subdivisions, and each item has its own specification. In 2004, they created a new CSI format. it was expanded to 50 divisions instead of 16, so that they can accommodate new types of work. This is the standard now. No, they didn't use the 50 divisions. They kept some for the future. So most of the numbers are used, but some are kept for so that they don't need to change the whole thing again. So this is the new type of format for the CSI, which has almost 50 divisions. As you see, each division is concerned about one item. So the first, there is a general requirement, division 1. This is a general requirement for the building. And then each division has division 03, concrete, 04, masonry, 5, metal, 19, 18, 17, not used yet, reserved for the future. Conveying equipment, the 14. 28, electronic safety and security. And there are some reserved for the future. So each division is concerned with one type of specification. So the master format is becoming more detailed and gives more specifications. This is the introductory information, division 1 general requirements, and then this is a comparison between what was there before and what is new in the master format. Some added, some changed. So instead of writing doors and windows, now we have openings. So openings might not be doors and windows, might be other things. Wood and plastics became wood, plastics, and composites. So they see the specs are reflecting the development of the field, not as drawings, but as materials, construction systems, applications. So this is what the specifications reflect. Some of the divisions are the same, and others were not there before, and so on. So instead of only mechanical, they have several items: fire suppression, firefighting, the fire alarms and firefighting systems must be specified. How many will be in this area? What are the sections of the pipes? And everything. And heating, HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. This has a separate division now. It was not there before, so it's all under mechanical. Plumbing has a separate division because it's becoming more complicated with laboratories and equipment that require plumbing everywhere. Integrated automation, electrical, communication, these were not available before. The networking, the internet, all these things were not part of the construction in the past. So you'll find that there are some items that continued and some items are expanded. That's why we moved from the 16 to the 50. And we have some items reserved for new activities. So each item has its own division, so it has to be written there. This is a quick comparison between the 16 divisions of the 95 and the 50 divisions of the 2004 CSI format. As we said, drawings and specifications must be consistent with each other to avoid misinterpretation. If you write something in the drawing, it has to be exactly what is in the specification and the bills of quantities, as we will see. There are architects who are specialized in this type of work. They do only this revision to make sure that everything is standardized for quality control. Quality control engineers, they make sure that anything written here in the drawing is matched in the specs, is matched in the bills of quantity. Contractors, they love to find mismatches. They will not tell you about it. They will hide it until they start the construction, and then they tell you, this door was drawn 70 centimeters in the drawing, and it's specified as 90 centimeters in the specs. Tell them, okay, follow the specs. To follow the drawings. No, I can't. I have to follow the specs and the bills of quantities. So you have to change the drawing. And this will give me time and money. If you want me to change it to 70, then it's a change order. So you have to be very careful and review every line and every letter in your drawings with the specs and the bills of quantities. Bills of quantities are the second part of the specification. They specify briefly what is required and give quantities and leave a column for the price of the unit price, and then the total. So the architect will provide this is a sample of bills of quantities. You see, you give a very brief description of the specs of what you want. And then you give the unit, is it by a number of units or meter square or meter run or meter cube? You have to give the unit and then the quantity. And then you give this to the contractor. The contractor will fill the unit price and then multiply the unit price by the amount to give the total of this item. And then at the end, they give you the total of the items. And if they have any comments, they write it in the comments column. So this is a typical bill of quantity that you provide to the contractor. And then they make the bidding, and then they send you these columns filled with the item price and then the total. Why? Because in the negotiations, there is bidding and negotiation. You will give this to 5 contractors, and then they will return it to you, and then you find some items. There are 2 contractors that are equal or close, and then you start to negotiate with them. You can tell them, you cannot just negotiate the lump sum or the total. You can negotiate each item. Why did you put this very high price? Tell you because of material, because, okay, can we change this to this? Okay, so it will be reduced. After the bidding, you can make some negotiations about items that you think are very high, or you want to change them, or yeah, so, and then you change the cost of the item and then the total. So Excel spreadsheet is very important in this calculation. So you have to have standardized Excel spreadsheets with all the items, and then you copy paste from the original and create your new, so that you can calculate the total quickly. You can also provide a bill of quantity in general. So the excavation, the amount of excavation, the PPC work, the footing, steel, DPC, length, beam, concrete, brickwork, and you have the quantity, the unit, the rate, and the amount, and then the total. So the bill of quantity can take different shapes depending on the stage you are in. Because as we said, when we go to the cost estimation, the client wants to know the cost from the beginning of the project. So you can provide them with different types of cost, maybe based on general items, and as we will learn, with different types of cost estimation. And this is also another example in English. You have the item, and you are following the CSI format. So the items must follow the numbering of the format. And then the unit, the quantity, the rate, and the total of the item. And at the end, you get the total of the project. So this is also another example. It's all the same, you know. It's an Excel spreadsheet with the items, the unit, the rate, and the amount. An Excel spreadsheet makes this very easy and to move around and use in different projects. In the past, we used to type this for every project. Before the computer, you have to type this for every project. Now, computers, you can use it. So if we have a project like this one, just a small example, and then you get the foundation drawing from the structural engineer, and they specify the type of footings, footing 1, footing 2, footing 3, with the columns and the dimensions and everything. They also have to provide for each foundation the size of the foundation, the number, the quantity, and quantity of concrete, quantity of excavation, so that they can get the quantity of excavation and quantity of refilling, and this will be used for the bills of quantities. So each specialization will give you details of their work. The next part is the contract forms and conditions. This is, as we said, the abiding document between the contractor and the client. You as an architect, you write a different contract. This is not your contract as an architect. This is a contract between the client and the contractor. And this has to be reviewed by a lawyer. Don't depend only on yourself. You can find it around, but it has to be reviewed by a lawyer, because the architect is not qualified by education to take this responsibility. So these are types of construction contract. The parties of agreement, the amount of work, the method of payment, everything is specified according to articles that govern the work of the parties. Bidding requirement. Now you finish the drawings, you finish the specifications, you finish the bills of quantities, you finish the contract forms. Now you will go to the bidding. The bidding means that you will, as we said, that the delivery approaches, you can have one contractor, one main contractor, or several contractors, or design build. Different types of deliverables must be known from the beginning because they affect how we make the construction documents. So for each type of delivery, I need to prepare construction documents. If I have one single main contract, so the whole thing will be one package. If I have 5 contractors, so I need to prepare 5 packages and divide the work on 5. If I have superstructure or underground and then superstructure and then finishing, so I need to divide the work according to the delivery approach. So I have to agree with the client from the beginning about the delivery approach in order to be able to prepare the appropriate construction documents. So I will prepare all the information for the bidding, the forms, and send it to the contractors, and then they send me their feedback with the price. During the bidding, sometimes or many times, the client changes his or her mind. They ask for something new, or they want to remove something from the project. These changes are very common. So during the bidding, you can ask the contractors to change something in the contract documents, in the drawings or the specs. And this is what we call addenda. Addenda is issued by the architect during the bidding or negotiation process to any of the construction documents. Important word here is during. Okay? After the signing of the contract with the contractor, you can also ask for changes or modifications. And these are called change directives or change orders or variation orders. They have different names depending on the European or American or different institutions. So you can hear it as variation order, VO, or change order, or contract modification. So they can have different names. But the difference between this and the addenda is that you pay money if you do this. The owner will pay for these changes, even an addition or subtraction. They have to understand that the contractor is eligible to receive money due to waste material, time, workmanship, many other things. So as soon as you issue a contract modification, the contractor will send you request for payment. Okay? So the documents that we use for the construction documents are very important to understand, and you understand the relationship between them. We have the bidding requirements, the contract forms, the conditions, the specs, the drawing, the addenda, and the contract modification. Some of them fall into the bidding documents. The contract modification is after the bidding. So it's not part of the bidding documents. The construction documents, they include everything. everything that happens in the project are part of the construction documents. And these are the contract documents, do not include the bidding requirements. These are the contract documents that are signed between the client and the owner. Right. The specs are written in different ways. They have to be very clear in terms of sizes, quantities shown in the drawings, and they add to the drawings the information needed for the construction, and coordination important can be with numbers. We have what we call proprietary specification. These are closed, brand or trade, open, equal competition. And we have a trend in specification that is not commonly used, but it's called performance specification. So instead of giving the contractor exactly what they should do, I ask them to make sure that the product will perform as I need it, and leave the specs more open. Sometimes this provides the contractor with a more creative opportunity to show their work. I can also reference specifications. Instead of writing the whole thing again, I can write in my specs, this is a reference to, please reference to the Egyptian building codes. That's it. So the contractor must go to this reference and use. Cash allowance specs. This is also a special type of specs that are used to clarify how will we manage the cash advance for the contract. The proprietary specification, they call for the desired materials, products, systems, equipment by their trade names and model numbers. So they are very specific. I want this model, I want this number. Come on, this is sometimes not acceptable by governmental agencies because they want the bidding to be competitive. But if it's direct work from the owner to the client, the owner can specify, no, I want this type of equipment and this model. So it depends if this is an open bid, governmental bid, or a closed bid and owner bid. So they are relatively easy because they specify everything in detail and rely on commercial activities. So this is a sample of proprietary specs. Admixtures, water reducing and air entertaining agents shall be used in all concrete, and you give them the brand name that you want to use. Okay, if it's an open governmental bid, you should not give brand names. Performance is a type of specs that define the product or system by describing desired end results. And I leave it to the contractor to select the material, the installation, the sizes, and everything. It's a bit tricky and usually not accepted by governmental agencies or large projects. Can be done for small size and special types of projects. This is a typical example of what they of performance specs specifications. Reference specs These are specs that refer to quality standards established by recognized testing authorities or the federal government. So as I said, you say that all specs must refer to the Egyptian specification instead of writing your own specs. Descriptive specs, these are the most detailed. So you specify each item, material, components, thickness, implementation, everything. You have to specify everything in the descriptive specification, and very exhaustive, and usually creates many errors in work. So this is a descriptive specification. Solid wood door construction. You give all the details of the solid wood door construction. Or in the other types of specs, you say, I want 1.2 meter door. That's it. And then you leave it to the contractor. Cash allowance, they specify a particular work, portion of work. Under this method, an architect directs bidders to set aside a specified amount of money to be applied to the construction work at the architect's direction. So instead of specifying a certain or specifying the type of work, I tell them I want you to keep $100,000 for the finishing of this particular room. And then it can be discussed later. So they will add it to the contract, but not according to any specification. Okay, yes.
In a phase where they want to have discussions later? Like
yes, yes, we will discuss later the materials, the colors, everything will be discussed later, but keep this amount of money aside. So I will not specify anything, but I will ask them to keep this amount for the future. So in some cases, products are indicated as owner furnished contract installed. So in some parts, I will say, مثلا, I have a marble factory, or a ceramic factory, or aluminum factory. So I'll tell them, I will supply the aluminum and you install it. So that saves money. So this is also part of this type of specifications. A product indicated an NIC not in contract. This is another type of a product that is not furnished nor installed by the contractor. So they remove it from their contract bidding. So all these details are important so that you get a competitive price for the project. It's important to understand what the specs are made for. More specific prevail over more generic. So you have to be more focused and more specific about what you want. Don't just, okay, I want ceramic tile, ceramic tiles. What size? What thickness? What finishing on the top layer? How it will be fixed? You have to be very specific about each material. Handwritten provisions will prevail over typewritten pre-printed, individual and personal attention more likely reflect the author intent. Usually we consider the handwritten over the typing is more important because it came later after the typing of the specifications. More recent drawings prevail. So that's why in the title sheet we have to write revision date. Who revised this drawing? And you have to make a cloud around the part that was revised, because you can have different versions of the same drawing. Usually 5, 6, 7 during the construction. So the latest drawing is the prevail. Large scale prevails over smaller scale. If I have 1 to 20 detail and I have 1 to 100 and they don't match, I will follow the 1 to 20. Okay? The contract documents are complementary, and what is required by one shall be as binding as required by all. So the contract documents must be followed by all the bidders of the contract. The architect will interpret all matters concerning performance. Internal coordination of construction documents. Overall coordination of construction documents must be granted in the office before they are issued to the contractor. The format for the specification for you and your subconsultants. The architect must make sure that all the formats are the same, all the drawing titles are the same, they are all corresponding to each other. This is what we call the project into a project manual. All work of the individual parties must be coordinated to produce a unified document. So consider your architectural work as part of a whole work. And you as an architect is responsible to coordinate the whole work together. That is what we mean by the architect is the master of the work, or the maestro of the work, not the master. The maestro of the work means that you coordinate between the different players. You don't necessarily play all the instruments as a maestro in the music, but you coordinate between all of them. So you have to follow this. But there are some tools now that are used for this in terms of BIM models that provide you with quantities and specifications for the materials that you put in the model. So when you finish, you can produce a document that has the specs for all the materials and the quantities. That's why it's very important that you follow the BIM procedures very carefully. It's not just to produce nice drawings or renderings. No, it is done specifically for this part of the project. That's why it's called building information modeling, not building modeling. Building information modeling. So all the materials and all the items are specified exactly so that you can produce at the end a complete list of. There is also project planning tools that are very important. It's a web-based resource that you can use to plan your projects and coordinate with different consultants. This is a paid subscription, but it's very useful for group coordination, especially exchanging drawings. So it's like a platform where you as an architect, you put your drawings, and same drawings will be used by the electrical, the mechanical, the plumbing. So instead of sending versions and receiving versions, and you don't know which version is the latest, because the title of the file is not clear, so everything becomes a chaos. So this coordination from day one is very important to happen. And it has different categorization of the work. The WBDG provide a good resource for the construction documents, references, and how it is now associated with sustainability and LEED and everything. Different building types, and so forth. One of the most important resources for specifications is the suites catalog. Did you use that before? Suites catalog. This is extremely useful. So you go to the Google and write, it doesn't show here. Okay, and you write suites, catalogs, so suites, now it's under suites dot construction. This is an amazing platform that provides you with all the specifications of all materials in the world. So it provides you also with AutoCAD files, with BIM files, for all the products if available. So and at the left here, it has products, manufacturers, catalog, BIM, specs, and so forth. So if you go to the products, as you see, what is this? Product division, the CSI format. So these are the divisions, and they are almost 50 divisions. So if you go to the division, let's say of masonry, or let's say openings, I will go to openings. Come on, you have to spend time exploring. This is a huge catalog. In the past, this used to come as printed catalogs every year, and it had like 12 volumes or 16 volumes for each division. So you take the division and you start to look inside. Now everything is automated. So let's say I want to have a plastic door, solid wood doors. I want to have wood doors. So this is 814. So these are the producers of the products. So let's say you go through it and select the door that you want. Let's say I want this door, Total Security Solutions. So I will go to this one. It gives you pictures of the door and how it looks. If you think, yes, this is what I want. No, I want this, I like this model more because it has handle and it has lock with numbers. So I want this one. So I'll go to product details from the manufacturer. This is the product detail. This is slab, full vision, half vision. So I select the type that I want, and it gives me everything related to the specifications of the door. So I can even request a meeting with the dealer. And here it has the downloads. You can find in the downloads the specifications. You can download the specs. You can download more pictures. You can videos. You can have videos. So it can give you also, if it's available, the catalog, the CAT file, the BIM. So instead of this door, maybe you want to have things that provide you with the product, but you want to have CAD and BIM. So you select, I want the CAD files. Okay, so I get the CAD file for the products that I select, or the BIM files. So if I select this, it will give me the CAD and BIM files for this product. So if I go to downloads, so I find here the CAD file. I download the CAD file for the specific type that I want. I can also download the BIM file. So I take the opening and place it in my model, and it calculates the quantity and specifications already built in. Specs, galleries. So all these are available for downloading. Okay, so this is a very, very useful site that you should explore and learn how to use to select even the shapes for your materials and doors and windows. Okay, so we used to spend hours just going through the catalogs. When you look through the catalogs, it feeds your brain with information, with shapes, and so on. So the suites catalog we still call it the suites catalogs because this is how it started, but it's now under suitesconstruction.com. This is extremely important part of the project. Last but not least, you have seen many examples of construction documents, starting from the site, the plans, the sections and details, the elevations. Very important thing is the referencing. So when you want to show a detail, you have to reference this detail according to the drawing number and detail number. Or if there is no detail, the section part of the drawing. طبعا in the elevations, we have to show the slab levels for each floor. Sections with dimensions and materials, everything. Blown up details of parts of the plan, showing the dimensions, the center lines, the walls, thicknesses, and everything. So these blown up parts are extremely useful for, طبعا this is the doors and windows tables. So each window or each opening type must be shown separately. Plan, section and elevation and dimensions and number of units and specification. Okay, so this is a detail of one window. You have to show the plan, the dimensions, the type of opening, the section, and the number of the window, the width, the height, and the description. All stairs must be detailed. All toilets must be detailed. Kitchens must be detailed. So all toilets must have detailed drawings. And the finishing schedule based on the materials used for each item. This is easy because you can change and reuse many times. These are examples, other examples of detailed drawings and the types of dimensions. And this is we used to show for construction documents courses here. You have done this before, so it's any standard, the stairs, the number of flights, the number of stairs, numbered, the levels, everything. If there is any information missing, the contractor will come back to you with clarification. And this clarification will require time and money, and so they play around a lot with this. Toilets details, and you have to draw all the tiles exactly as you want them in plan and elevation, section, details, dimensions. No horizontal dimensions in sections and elevations. Horizontal dimensions are only in plans. These only vertical dimensions. Any angles must be specified. Any details must be clarified. The finishing. So this is a whole world of drawings. And thank you very much. That's it for our part 2 of construction documents. And wish you